Are you prepared to hear the truth about the league's newest superstar and the coach who has known her since middle school? Stay tuned, because in her most recent interview, Stephanie White revealed something that could completely alter the WNBA's landscape. It's not what anyone expected, and the Indiana Fever's new head coach dropped a bombshell that has everyone talking. It's exciting to coach generational talent, and that outweighs the other stuff that we might have to deal with. Story about Clark that you wouldn't believe. Are you ready? Let's go. Do I think it's going to be a smooth transition? But no, it's going to take some time. And just like any young team, you don't get back-to-back #1 picks by being really talented early, right? So it's going to take some time, and we've got to continue building. So managing expectations is going to be important. Imagine this: a packed gym, the air thick with anticipation, and Stephanie White sits with her eyes fixed on a young player who is dribbling circles around her opponents. This isn't just any player, though. Caitlin Clark is an 8th grader. I began following Caitlin Clark when she was in the 8th grade at Vanderbilt, and I went on to call a lot of her college games when she was at Iowa. Throughout her career, I have had numerous conversations with her college coaches about what the next steps would be and what the next level would be. White has been following Clark's every move, and she has had a front row seat to her incredible journey from middle school prodigy to college superstar. However, this is where it gets interesting. White wasn't merely a passive observer. She was analyzing, studying, and yes, even dreaming about coaching this extraordinary talent. Caitlin isn't just great for women's basketball one day. She's great for the entire game. Let's not forget that this is a young woman who leads the country in assists and has set records that have never been achieved in collegiate basketball. Now, fast forward to today, and White isn't just complimenting Clark. She's also sharing how her long-term observations have shaped her understanding of Clark's game. She seems to have been preparing for this moment her entire career. Are you ready for this? White drops a bombshell in her interview, sharing insights that only someone who has watched Clark's entire journey could have. I'm looking forward to. Caitlin Clark, and a generational talent sometimes overlooked, is Kelsey Mitchell, who has been one of the hardest workers I've ever seen, starting when I covered her at Big Ten Network and watching her at Ohio State. Then, before Caitlin Clark entered the scene, Aaliyah Boston was another generational talent. And she's right. So when you put all of that together, White's words paint a picture of Clark as more than just a basketball player. She's a cultural phenomenon, a generational talent that comes only once in a lifetime. Scoreboards, and here's the best part. White's excitement about coaching Clark is so intense that she can hardly contain herself when she says, "What an outstanding moment we have in women's basketball right now. I am thankful and grateful for it. It seems like White knows she's about to be a part of something big that could change the game forever. I hope first and foremost that I can be a resource for Caitlin." Fortunately, at the time, we didn't have social media, which magnifies everything, but I've been through some of the extra stuff, so hopefully I can help her navigate some of the extra stuff while pushing her to be her best. Challenging her to push herself beyond her comfort zone on the court. But remember that this isn't just about Clark White's observations. They also give us a glimpse of the future of the Fever. She's excited about coaching Clark and the team they're building, and you can almost hear the excitement in her voice as she talks about the upcoming season. I have the advantage of having been an opponent, so I scouted her, and this is what we would do to make you uncomfortable. This is how we've game planned for you. And once more, being that direct person, like, okay, these are the things that we need to improve. White's 10-year relationship with Clark isn't just a cool fact. It's a game changer because it shows that she understands Clark's strengths, weaknesses, and potential in a way that no other coach could. She has seen Clark grow, adapt, and overcome obstacles, and she has seen firsthand the work ethic and determination that have made Clark the player she is today. Heck, we had a staff meeting in India a few weeks ago, and it was like, guys, we got to scale it back because we won't be able to accomplish all of this in year one or during training camp. we're going to be able to, so it's really exciting to me to stay ahead of the curve, watch all of these NBA and EuroLeague games and think about what we can do. Let's go back a little to when Caitlin Clark was dominating college basketball. Stephanie White had her microphone in hand, but she wasn't just another analyst gushing over a star player. Instead, White saw something in Clark that others missed. During one of her broadcasts, White revealed something shocking about Clark's game. I think she reads the game better than other stars. That's huge, folks. As she praised Clark's scoring prowess, she was highlighting the intangibles that make a great player. Caitlin Clark is just the epitome of the intersection of pop culture, social media, and fan engagement in a way that we have never seen before. And she is making a positive impact on all athletes. Fast forward to when Clark joined the WNBA. The pressure was real, but so was the hype. And the person who stood firmly in Clark's corner was none other than Stephanie White. When Clark lost her first 2 WNBA games, the critics were full force, but White refused to let it happen, reminding everyone that even the best players require time to adjust. Out like she's going to be fine, like it's only 2 games in. Are you kidding me? She's a student of the game, and she keeps getting better every year. You won't just absorb all of the new information that's coming at you in 2 games, in 2 weeks. It takes time, and I'm sure she will. These are also points that the coaches then address, so let's keep working on this. Now, imagine White coaching against Clark in the playoffs. You'd think she'd be focused on stopping her, but even then, White couldn't help but express excitement about the Fever's future with Clark. It's as if she knew something we didn't, and it's exciting. Born and raised in Indiana, I take great pride in Indiana basketball and the Fever organization as a player and coach. I think it's exciting to see what's going on with the organization and where they are. I mean, most organizations have their ups and downs, but I'm proud of the Indiana Fever's growth and am excited about the team's future. Then, when White finally gets the Fever coaching job, she calls Caitlin Clark. Can you imagine the conversation she had with her? She said, I spoke with Caitlin last night, and I think just overall excitement that's not just a coach talking to a... Here's where it gets really interesting. White's coaching philosophy is all about maximizing player potential. She's not just looking to win games, she's looking to build something lasting. When talking about coaching Clark in the Fever, White said something like this. I think first and foremost, just talking basketball, right? Just having general basketball conversations. So about what she's watching, what she likes, what are some of the things that are some of her thoughts from not just what the Indiana Fever have done, but from the game of basketball in general. This is the moment we've been waiting for, and it's not just excitement. That's a coach who knows she has everything she needs to create something extraordinary. Picture this. It's a crucial moment in the Iowa versus Purdue game, and everyone is on the edge of their seats. Purdue's coaching staff believes they have the ideal strategy to stop the unstoppable Caitlin Clark. But they're going to learn a hard lesson about expecting the unexpected. It's the end of, I don't know, a quarter or a half, but we were going to take a fall on her right, so Caitlin Clark brings it over, and she brings it over close to where Katie Gerald is, and we're going to tell Jayla Smith to foul. Kay said, I'll let you know when so you can see Caitlin. Purdue coach Kelly Kamar had it all worked out. They were going to foul Clark before she could get a shot off. Easy, right? Well, not when you're dealing with a player like Caitlin Clark. Now, Jayla Smith goes to foul, throws it up, turns around, and it frickin' goes in, and she didn't even see it. Then she starts saying, oh my God, and somehow overhear the coach's plan. Purdue Jayla Smith does something that leaves everyone stunned. Swish. Whatever you're planning, whatever you're thinking you're going to try, I mean, we all just did what we could. And at the end of the day, that's what it was. However, someone like that, you know, has to kind of cross their fingers and throw spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks with her. Now, here's the kicker. The shot didn't even count because the foul was called before Clark released the ball. But that's not the point in that split second. Clark had demonstrated to everyone in the arena why she's in a league of her own. And Kamer later couldn't help but laugh at how impossible it is. It was like trying to catch lightning in a bottle, but it was also a lot of fun to experience Mackey Arena and Caitlin Clark at the same time. This impossible shot is more than just a highlight play. It's a perfect example of what makes Clark so unique. How many players can say they've made a shot without looking at the basket while being fouled after overhearing the other team's plan? It's the kind of thing you'd expect to see in a movie, not an actual college basketball game where we have a lot more defensive tools at our disposal. I'm not sure how any college team could really prepare for a Caitlin Clark game because you can't do it with just one player, and you can't do it one-on-one as it is. So let me just briefly explain everything before you leave, but that's Caitlin Clark for you. She doesn't just play basketball, she rewrites the rules of what's possible on a basketball court. It's this kind of extraordinary talent and instinct that has coaches like Stephanie White so excited about the future. Let's take a moment to look at the big picture. The Indiana Fever aren't just making a few adjustments, they're planning a complete transformation, and at the center of it all, you guessed it, Caitlin Clark's picture. Fever's front office, which was once struggling, is now turning into a powerhouse. They brought back Kelly Krakoff as team president, who is known as the mastermind behind the team that won the 2012 championship. But that's not all. They've also hired Amber Cox as their new general manager. Cox is renowned for her keen talent sense and in-depth knowledge of the league. As coaches, it's our responsibility to continue to place them in positions that will help them succeed. And as a team, we're supposed to put the pieces in place that will fill some of the gaps and holes. Ultimately, our goal was to win championships and hang banners. So this is where things get really interesting. White is talking about a three-headed monster with Aaliyah, Boston, and Kelsey Mitchell. Can you imagine trying to defend against that trio? It's enough to give any opposing coach nightmares. They're putting together a basketball dream team with Clark as the focal point. And they're not just talking about winning a few games here and there. Are you ready for this? It's not just about outscoring opponents. It's about shutting them down, too. And yeah, first and foremost, it's a mindset that you've got to be committed to it. Therefore, establishing that this is going to be a part of our DNA and a part of who we are right away and is going to be important. Let's talk about Aaliyah Boston for a moment. This young star has been making waves since day one. She was the #1 overall pick in the 2023 WNBA draft, and she's already been named an All-Star twice. Imagine her developing alongside her.